and co-creator of the new Infinite Earth. Now, here is your host, Elizabeth Monroy.
Hello, my divine infinite human beings. You're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And today we have probably one of the most amazing shows to date. And we've had some pretty amazing shows. We have the great Eon Parks back. Okay, so we listened to him last week on April Fool's Day, and you began hopefully to realize that you've been fooled. The history has been pulled over your eyes, and nothing is as it seems. And today we're talking about the Great American Eclipse, and I'm so honored to have my producer and a producer at Voice America, Tacey Trump, who is going to just kind of be here. She's going to ground a lot of the questions so we don't get too, airy-fairy in the advanced metaphysics. But the bottom line is this is all good. It's all God. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience. But there is a lot of crazy stuff going on out there. So the first half an hour, we're going to kind of look at it, neutralize it, alchemize it, and bring it back always to you, because this is the time we've been waiting 260 billion years for. This is a time when our Earth is really being born anew, and the old parasitic controllers are being evicted, and we're seeing the grasping their last, rattles, they call it, when someone's in the death breath, their final breaths, and trying anything they can. So we're going to go into that in depth, and so without further ado, let me first talk to Tacey now about what's going on there in America.
Hi, Elizabeth, on the ground in Tempe, Arizona. And we're supposed to get the peak today at 11:20 a.m. So
okay,
have
and what
the
time is it
solar
there
glasses.
now? It's 9 a.m. there, so in about 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay,
it starts at
things are
10.
crazy in America now, right? There's they've declared a state of emergency across
a bunch of states.
Schools are closed, businesses are closed,
courthouses.
Okay, so things are crazy. Okay, and now let's bring Eon in. Hello, Eon.
Hello.
To kind of talk about what we've been calling affectionately the parasites, whether you call them the cabal, you call them, the fallen angelics, you call them, they're just, people that just are not getting with the program. And the program is we're resetting to the crystalline spiral of life. So what are their games right now?
Well, basically, over the last few days, I've been researching some of this information that's been flying around about this event. Now, first of all, this event is only a total eclipse in America. It's not a total eclipse. It's where I am in around Liverpool in the UK. The eclipse is going to be a tiny little part of it. It's not a total eclipse at all. Now, when you start looking at these dates, there's all these sort of interesting things in the dates. Like, for instance, the eclipse in 2017 and the eclipse today. The very middle date, if you look at the very middle one, there was actually an eclipse then as well. And on that same date is when they started doing the first vaccinations in America. Very, very interesting. Yeah. So what these FAs, fallen angelic parasites, as I call them, do, they like to sequence their agenda on these eclipses. For some reason, it gives them power. I think they use it for kind of like a loosh. Loosh is like negative energy. They like to put all this fear out there. Try and make people in fear. And then they feed on that fear, and then they use that fear to try and push the next stage of their agenda through.
Yeah, they power up their beast machines.
So all this scary stuff. I mean, I'm reading about they've got the National Guard out in America with hazmat suits and all that. I mean, what's all that about? Hazmat suits for what? What are they expecting is going to happen? I haven't quite figured out what they're talking about there, but it's all fear-based. Yes. You pay no attention to it whatsoever. They may try and do something, they may try and whatever, but they're using our fear as a sort of a thrust for themselves. They need us to be able to do what they want to do next, because they're losing power, type of thing. So, oh God, right, okay. So,
well, let me pause just a minute, because we're going to get into what you're going to talk about. I know what you're going to say next. But this, of course, you got to realize these parasitic entities have been around a long, long time, and they've orchestrated so much of this. I mean, the moon is not even organic, to our planet.
No.
And many people are getting all into, and we'll get off. I'd like to hear your perspective on that. The fact that Rapture is in the center, and then we have all these biblical names of Jonah and Salem and etc. And X marks the spot. So there's so much going on there. But you have to realize, there is no coincidences. This, even the founding fathers, named a lot of these towns, and they were, they're following a script that was written eons ago, and the script is Revelation. But one of the things that people don't realize, even, the people that see the Catholic Church as satanic, is that the Bible, the Catholic Church produced the Bible. The Bible has most of the truth of the Bible is under the Vatican in 53 miles of hermetically sealed libraries. So, and what Eon is talking about is the information that was given down, and every generation has speakers that are dedicated to try to get this information back. As soon as it's written down, it's the people that have it are murdered and it's stolen, and that's when the great libraries are burned. So this information that's in the Bible is the Holy Bible. I always say is full of holes. It's really, and it's been weaponized to create something where you're looking outside yourself. You're looking to a God outside of yourself in the skies, God, imposter God, and you're putting your power outside of yourself. So can you add to that, Ian?
Yes, it's giving your power away is essentially what you're saying, because this goes back to if you want to find the answers, you need to go inside yourself. You need to find your own connection to God's source consciousness field.
The kingdom of heaven is within. That's one thing.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the main truth that they don't want you to know. So instead of you looking inside yourself, they want you to always keep looking outside of yourself, because if you're always looking outside of yourself, you'll never find the answers. And that's the main scam that they've got going on.
And they're controlling what you see. They're controlling your perception deception. It's a perception deception of external.
They want you to focus your attention on some kind of external religious figure, or maybe an artifact or something like that, so that you're giving your power to it. And another part of that is what's called the savior program. Somebody's going to come and save us, right? Now we're here. We need to make our own choices. We need to essentially save ourselves. It's great having a bit of help every now and again, but we need to actually save ourselves. If you want to,
let me just expand on that for a minute. Savior, okay. The second coming of Christ, we're seeing that. The rapture, I've heard people talking about the battle in the sky, and the good aliens are going to win over the bad aliens. Well, hey guys, it was aliens that got us into this mess to begin with, and they're going to beam you up or rapture you. So every time you're putting your power outside of yourself, whether it's a good alien, the Palladians, the Galactic Federation, Christ that's coming, you're setting yourself up for problems.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, this whole thing about the rapture, which is in the Christian Bible, it's kind of like sort of all the people are being taken up into heaven type of thing, that they're all going up in a rapture. I found out in the Freedom Teachings, which is by Ashiana Dean. You
don't know, that's probably most of the information that the Vatican has underneath.
It's all part. It's the Krystic councils basically have been assisting this planet for probably millions of years, trying to get us back on the Krystic ascension path type of thing. So in about 2010, there was a series of what's been known as called 12 Tribes workshops, and I won't go into what they all are, but in 12, so I'll tell you now, 12 Tribes Volume 1 is where the information is about the rapture.
So what is the
technical
rapture?
information.
No.
Now, this document is, I'm just going to basically very, very briefly summarize it because it's extremely dense,
Okay, please.
metaphysical information. So essentially, it's all to do with the actual real science behind ascension and what happens in the process of ascension. Now, it's actually, the word rapture comes from the phrase rasha pata or, which is all to do with the rasha body. So I'll just read you this little thing. It says, so when you go through ascension, you go through a process of cellular transfiguration, and you're intending to enter something into the Christ star state, which is permanent eternal life transfiguration of the physical atomic physical body and all of its atoms, and you transfigure it into eternal life, light, matter, spirit, rasha body substance called pata or, which means permanent or eternal light radiation. And this process of cellular transfiguration of the atomic body is referred to as the rasha pata or, which has become translated as the rapture in Christian teachings. Now, there's a lot of more detailed information about exactly how that works, but that's just like, I won't read that now. But
let me just share something that relates to that. I was listening to Dave Emery, whom I love, and he's coming on our show in May, and he was talking about how in ancient times, and he was talking actually about emperor, the Egyptian emperor Agamemnon, and how when people died in those days, there was actually they would flash a radiation through the sheet, and they would leave as they left their body. And this is something we see in Turin, because there was like this body of it wasn't Yeso 12, but it was a Christed being that left the imprint of his body as he ascended out of his physical body. But they leave a residue, which he called mummy dust, and it's or the last word is or, of the Rasha. What's the word you called it again? Rapture.
Rasha pata or.
So they left this gold-like dust, and they call it mummy dust. And it was kind of like spice in the movie Dune. And if you got addicted to it because he would, take it off the body once it ascended and lick it, and it would give him open up all these portals and abilities.
Yes.
So that's interesting. But before we go on, Tacey, are we going too crazy for you? Do you want to ask some, what's your comments or questions do you have? No? Okay.
Oh, we can't hear it.
Are you talking, Tacey?
Sorry about that. Yeah, there are a few things that are going on over here that are kind of concerning. But you can continue your conversation just if you want an update of what they're telling us, from the heart black boxes to the 4.8 quake and all sorts of things going on, NASA and CERN. But if you want to continue where you were going, we can certainly bring those things up. But a lot of scare tactics when it should be a beautiful thing.
I just wanted to step in and see, if there's anything that. Okay, let's continue, Ian, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Tea?
Having some tea.
Of course.
Okay. So where would you want to continue talking about the fallen angelic?
Let's talk about CERN, okay? Why do you think, I've read a lot and seen a lot about them cranking that up, and you'd mentioned that they're trying desperately again to use their black hole technology to rip a hole, in the timeline to keep us, stuck in this time loop, which we're actually now ascending out of. And it's, again, we're back to the Krystala spiral of life, and, and the Fibonacci spiral of death now. And I just want to say, evil is live spelled backwards. So it's really not that it's anything bad. There's choices. Do you want to live? Do you want to return to a culture filled with life, or do you want to continue in the death culture? You had a comment,
with
Casey? Okay.
CERN, CERN and NASA both have the goddess that represents everything falling apart. And I can't think of her name. I didn't write it down in my notes,
Chaos.
unfortunately. But representing both the 3 rockets that they're sending off to
Mhm.
look at dark matter.
Shiva.
And CERN, that's it. Yep, thank you.
The
And
destroyer, yeah.
CERN is trying to bring up dark matter. So they're both very satanic rituals and goddess of destruction, yes. And why are they doing them during the eclipse? So there's that, and then people are sending up balloons to test things as well, and hopefully they don't contain anything. I don't trust the current state of the government, so I'm hoping that these warnings, they're just being hyper sensitive with all the hazmat, bio, and nuclear chemical teams on the paths, as well as the National Guard and the HARP black boxes, which HARP can cause earthquakes, as we know. The HARP black boxes have been installed with wires, and phone companies have upgraded all the way along the path. So we don't know what they're going to do with them, but they are HARP black boxes and a bunch of upgrades. They've also, a warning went out this morning that all cell phone signals across the country might be impacted. All sorts of warnings from this end, but it's just kind of creepy, but we have to look beyond their scare tactics.
Yeah. And I just want to say that the epicenter of this is in Mexico. Okay, I've heard that it's actually emanating from the great central sun of all, and then the epicenter is in a place called the Zona de Silencio, or the zone of silence, where there is no activity whatsoever, and it looks like the navel. It's supposed to be the navel of our Mother Earth. And Dr. Ling and I think Sasha Stone went there, and they reported, and they said NASA's there. Yeah. They've all moved there. So, so I think they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they're also desperately trying to hold on to it, because wasn't it? I mean, it was black hole technology that first got us in the mess we're in today, right?
Like with CERN?
No.
In terms of what do you mean, CERN?
260 billion years ago, I think, for me, from what what resonates with me is that we were actually invaded by a parallel universe. So it's, and then of course the fall of Tara, which we talked about in one of our early sessions here. And if you're lost, this is all in my book, The Infinite Human, and I also have an audiobook that's just out now. But it was through black hole technology that our Earth fell from its beautiful place in the cosmos as a 5-dimensional, 6-dimensional, of a higher dimensional planet. So that's what they use to create time loops, to bring entities and planets and universes into the fall. Right? Correct. I mean, that's what my understanding.
It goes back something like 3 or 4 billion years to when the problem is the Metatronic code, which is the artificial creation template program. That is all fallen angelic templates work on this fallen angelic template. Mm-hmm. They call it the Metatronic code. There's slightly different variations of it, but essentially, I think it was about 3 or 4 billion years ago. This particular group of people fell. It was like a Krystic race line fell, which means that they lost their connection to God source. So they fell. So there was like this big experiment that was created, and that we live inside this structure called a 15-dimensional time matrix, which is quite complicated to understand. But just imagine we live in this kind of like bubble with 15 dimensions in it. They actually created one of them to try and study the Christ code and make it better so that it couldn't fall. And they created like a polarity drama inside it. This is like Christic council races, actually really high up level, sort of high density Christic races, actually doing this as an experiment. And they lost control of the experiment, and the beings that were inside it broke out. And this Metatronic code that they'd created inside this experiment, it broke out and it started spreading to all of the places in creation. And we're dealing with that now. This is ultimately where this problem all began. So the whole thing about Tara falling and that's actually quite recent in in comparison to this experiment where it all actually kicked off, type of thing, all the negative. So yeah, it's the Metatonic code.
You said that because what that is happening, okay, is basically encoded, though, was a fail-safe program. If everything does completely go fooey, which it has, every pass, it's gone, more and more off, so off that it had to get to the lowest point possible. And now fail-safe has kicked in. And it's a beautiful story, actually, because now we are resetting to the crystalline spiral of light. We're returning home. We're returning to that, to unity consciousness, to love, to harmony, beauty, all these things that many of us have been craving. And there are those who don't want it, or they're just maybe afraid of change. We see people everywhere. And you know what? That's okay. But it is happening, whether you know it or not, and you can fall off and continue your spiral down, and that's fine. But this is the end of duality, okay? When I studied screenplay writing in Los Angeles, my dear professor, who was really, really, smart, he said, good screenplay is conflict, conflict, conflict. And, this has been a great screenplay, because if you follow the history of the angelics, every curve, was like the guardians and the parasites, it's like this never ending trauma, really. And I really feel like that's ending. And now is finally our chance to just, forgive. I don't say forget, because we've learned so much from this drama. We are so much more powerful. Even the Krystic beings who were just all love and light. Now we're love and light, and hey, boundaries. Hey, no, you're not going to trick me again. Or as we said last week on the April Fools, you're not, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. Okay, so we're not going to get fooled twice. And I think this is why we're becoming so powerful, because we have knowledge. We have this hero's journey that we've been on, we've embarked on, and we're at the end where we're taking that elixir of truth, the reward of having lived this. And we know, I don't know about you, but I know with conflict, been there, done that. Bought the t-shirt and burnt it. I'm tired. I want unity. I want oneness. I learned a lot, but I don't want to do it anymore. And I think that's the true power that we're now embarking on. What say you guys? Got 5 minutes till our break.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this two time waves. You've got the Metatonic code, and you've got the crystal, the Christ code, KRYST, the Eternal Life Creation template. Mm-hmm. They both create their own spiral. It's like the way, imagine God's source consciousness field is in the center, and as it expands and grows into this manifest creation reality domain that we live in, it's a very specific mathematical template, and it creates a spiral of energy I explained it all in the other.
Well, we had a whole show on it, and I'm wearing my Crystalla spiral that I bought.
All right, okay.
At the goddess temples in Malta. All these were etched into the very ancient temples when the goddess energy, when the divine feminine eternal mother, and the eternal mother was still on this planet. So I bought this there. I love it.
That's a good day for that.
Yes, and we did a whole show on this. If you're confused, wonderful show about the splitting timelines, and the timelines really, people know it in the populace is 3D or 5, our fifth dimension kind of, but it's really Fibonacci, which is this continuation, or the Crystalla spiral, which is recalibrating, and that's what we're doing now. So
there's a lot of. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. It's okay.
I was just going to say there's a lot of chatter about that we're all going to ascend into the 5th dimension. What do you say about that?
Right. Okay. So this whole thing about the 5th dimension, whenever you hear anyone talking about the 5th dimension, it's kind of like Aisha's explained it in the past. Ashiana Dean, in her teachings, which I've followed for about 20 years, she explained that. I remember what she said as well. She said that it's like a kind of false ascension path, because it's not the correct structure. When they say that you're going to ascend to the 5th dimension, that doesn't fit in the structure and the stacks of what is taught in her teachings. Do you know what I mean? Now, apparently, these fallen beings, you can ascend up to the 5th dimension, but then you can't. There's like a ceiling where you can't go any higher. I think you can get up to D5, dimension 5, and then your soul gets recycled back down again. So when they say, so when they say the 5th dimension, Ieshu's never ever mentioned ascension to the 5th dimension. She's never used that phrase. It's not in our terminology, in our structure. In fact, this whole thing with the fail-safe that's going on at the minute, we can't ascend like this reality field that we look around in now. We're in what she calls density 1, which is dimensions 1, 2, and 3 in a stack. That's where we live, density 1. Now, when you ascend, obviously you're going up to density 2, which is D4, 5, 6. Now, we can't go up the original external creation densities anymore in the process of ascension to get back to God source consciousness field, because the whole system, the whole light body structure system, is broken. Hence why we need this fail-safe. It's an alternative path of ascension, so we can get out of here, because we can't go back up the normal route. So we've got to sort of like step to the side into a different template and then go up the internal creation densities instead. That's what the fail-safe is. Now, that's a process.
Okay, I have a different perspective on that. So I just want to voice that for because I really believe it's all happening now inside of us. We're not going anywhere. It's coming here. And I believe right now, today, this is part of that, because the veil is at its lowest. And I think all those that has been around us, that has kept us sealing off, is shattering and splintering and dissolving. I believe that very much. And I use the word 5D, but because some people don't even think beyond 3D. So I think that's a stepping stone, but there's so many more dimensions. But I believe that if you can just really align with infinite source within you, with the crystalla spiral, that the architecture is being, dissolved within, because it's always a journey within. It's always inside of you. And this is happening here and now. It's an internal voyage. So that's just my perspective on it. And okay, so think about that for a minute, and we'll pick this back up. I don't mean to cut you off, but we're going to take just a very short break. And if we have any callers, you're welcome to call in. Okay?
For more empowering words from Elizabeth Monroy and Dr. Peter Monroy, check out their latest book, The Infinite Human, an ascension guide for starseeds, twin souls, and awakening infinite humans, the co-creators of the new infinite 5D Earth. You'll also find many spiritual books to help both children and adults in their ascension back to home, to infinite God source. Isn't it time to be part of the new consciousness renaissance? If this resonates with you, please subscribe to our website at infinitehuman.com and become part of our growing Infinite Human family.
Welcome back to the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. Do you have a question or comment for Elizabeth or her guests? Please call us at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. You can also text or email your questions and comments to infinitehumanproductions@gmail.com. Now, back to the show.
And welcome back. I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm your host on the Infinite Human Talk Show. And today we're talking with Tacey Trump, who's a producer at Voice American here at Voice America, and with the great Eon Parks, who is my, I guess let's say, advanced metaphysical consultant. And we just had some interesting talks about ascension. And I'm going to open back up to that. Any questions that Tacey may have, and some comments that Eon would like to have, because he's very well schooled in this subject. Eon, you want to expand a little bit more on the mechanics of ascension that was left out of the Bible?
The mechanics of ascension. Yes, basically, what normally happens is when you're born, every 8 years you go through an expansion process. Your consciousness, it's all about bringing frequencies into your body as you walk through life, as you walk through your journey. You are bringing frequencies into your body, and you're accreting those frequencies into your DNA. Now, human beings are supposed to have 12 strands of DNA, and over the course of your life, you're using frequencies to build those strands. So each time you build a strand, it plugs into the next one and plugs into the next one. And every 8 years, you go through this huge expansion, and you start, it takes 8 years to do one density level worth of DNA. And then you go up to density 2, 8 years. And then, so when you get to the age of 33, you are a fully embodied 12-strand avatar. Right,
if everything goes correctly.
That's what's supposed to happen, right? But because of this Metatronic code problem, when we incarnate onto this planet, we pick up all the distortion, the Metatronic code distortions in the planet, in the solar system, even in the 15-dimensional time matrix. We have to incarnate through all these shields on the way down, and if there's any distortions in these shields, we pick these distortions up in our own templates when we get down here. So to cut a very long story short, these consciousness expansions every 8 years do not occur, right? We can only get up to about D3 in consciousness, and then we can't get any higher, because and then what happens is once we've accreted our 3 DNA strands, these frequencies keep coming in, and they keep bombarding us, and we can't assimilate these frequencies. So that's what causes aging. That's what causes our body to physically deteriorate, because we're being literally pulverized by these frequencies that we're walking around in, and we can't integrate them into our bodies. So essentially, when you get to if everything was working the way it was supposed to, when you get to the age of 33, you can choose consciously to do it. You just disappear from here. It would appear that you've disappeared. You can transmute your body, and you just appear in a higher time cycle. So you would.
And really, since there is no time, we're just talking about flash sequences, because you're flashing from flash sequence, which would someone in this dimension, you would look like you're disappeared, but you really didn't, because you're flashing at a faster sequence. So now, Tasty, does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. That's very interesting.
Okay. Now, the planet Earth got knocked off its axis. So we're actually at a 23.5 degree tilt at the moment. What that did, this was during Atlantis, this happened. Basically, it disconnected all the stargates. Now, you need all the stargates to be connected, so that when you're during the process of ascension, because we never used to die. Human beings used to be eternal. You just used to get to the age of 33 and then disappear and pop up somewhere else, essentially in a higher time cycle. So you were never meant to die. So that was never the thing. Now, when we got, in order for that process to occur, you need all the stargates to be connected to the higher densities and that, because all of the stargates
they bring energy into each part. Yeah. They're located strategically around our planet. For example, Pluto has a stargate. Giza has a stargate. These are all just so people don't. A lot of people have been asking me, "What's a stargate? What's a stargate?"
All as a planetary stargate is it's a chakra, a human chakra, on the planetary level. That's as simple as that. It allows energy to go from one dimension to the other. It's like a breathing process between the two different dimensional levels.
And it connects us to the God source world. So we've been like a Rubik cube. We've been disconnected, so we can't take and give. Okay. Just so
ascension can't happen the normal way anymore, because all these stargates have been disconnected. So excuse me, but would it be fair to say, bringing it back to the rapture, would it be fair to say that the rapture is really when everything comes into alignment and you're able to flash out into those higher sequences? Well, that process is an actual thing in Krystic ascension mechanics physics. Whether that can actually That's how it used to work. That's how it used to work. But what actually happened is there was this all goes back to something called the you've heard of the Ark of the Covenant, haven't you? So there was they created this artificial gate system on the planet. When we got knocked off our access, they created an artificial gate system. It was called the Ark of the Covenant of Palador, I think you pronounce it.
Palador. The Palador, the Covenant of Palador.
Yeah. So that was a covenant. It was like an agreement, and it was an agreement by the Krystic councils, and I think there was a few like fallen angelics involved in it as well. And it was to try and rescue the people that were trapped on the planet to allow them to still continue the process of ascension. So
Christos mission, it was kind of a reconnaissance.
Yeah, the Christos realignment mission.
Cover us. We were the angelic humans who've been cut off from source, from being able to be free. So that was what it was.
So back in the Christ period, the person who's come to be known as Jesus, Jeshua Sananda Melchizedek, he actually didn't get crucified. He was a fully embodied 12-strand avatar, and he actually ascended out of here. He ascended out of here physically through one of the Ark of the Covenant portals. I think it was, if memory serves, it was in Giza.
Yeah, in Giza.
Interesting.
And he ascended back into the something called the sphere of Amenti, which is becoming a big thing again now, if you read Ashiana's book, Voyages 2.
But the good news is, okay, so all this is going on. So CERN's, opening trying to desperately the black hole technology. NASA's shooting rockets and at the umbilical cord, trying to mess up that eternal hum that's coming out.
To study the corona, they keep pointing out, which reminds me of something else. But continue.
Yeah. And what else and we've got, state of emergency, people are like, the day of judgment, Armageddon is coming, it's kind of setting the stage for blue beam steering, because I think they want to try to play that card, but I don't think they're even going to be able to play that, because people are starting to get it. They're waking up. And the good news is this veil right now, it's at 10%. Okay. It's this whole thing. And what is the alchemy of an eclipse? Okay. Eclipse is the dark and the light. The sun is exposing the light, the darkness. Okay. So that's what's happening. And we see it, of course, over where you are, Ian. The royal house is, is really falling. I mean, they're just trying to prop up, these people who we don't even think Kate Middleton is still alive.
But reports I've been hearing that they're all no longer with us. So I've been hearing whether that's true or not. I don't know.
No longer with
the royal family. They're no longer with us.
No, that's what I've heard too.
Yes. And then I feel like the Catholic Church is the next to go. And I'm planning, I'll talk about this later, but I'm planning
to cover-ups
to Rome in August and doing some work there. So I might have an Infinite Human tour. So anyone that this resonates with, we'll get you on board. But, it's falling away. So let's look at what's happening on so many levels. Okay, we've got our Mother Earth is ascending. She's chosen to ascend. We have the Nomi wave, and you can add on this. That's in the center of the Earth, helping her to ascend. We have the Crystal River that's being hosted through our suns, the alignments of suns. That's coming from Aquinos, a whole nother time matrix, and many of us are that's the true age of Aquarius. Many of us have come from there, and we are the starseeds, the indigos, the aquafarians, who are waking up now. And I don't think they count on us. They tried to get rid of all these starseed babies with their vaccinations, when we were born, starting with my generation. And what else do we have going on here? The good news, Ian. Go ahead, Tacey. You got something?
Did you want to say something, Tacey, first?
Just a quick thing that I just saw. The indigenous groups, American Indians, are saying you should not look at the eclipse, that it can bring bad things to you. But now they're saying you shouldn't wear black if you're pregnant, keep infants away from windows. Animals are going to have very odd behaviors. along with, of course, you have to get your pet food, you have to get your prescriptions, your pet prescriptions, water, everything, charge your cell phone, bring a charger, plan to spend the night, all sorts of things. But that's just the latest. But they have a superstition against actually looking at it, that it can
Well,
bring you bad
I've been listening to
luck.
indigenous people, and they're starting to come back online now, which is really great
Mm-hmm.
because their genetics are kicking in. And Dave Emery talked a lot about the speakers, that the 3 speakers that came back. I think the last ones were in the 1300s, and they were in the Hopi and Seminole. So I've listened to some of the Hopi elders that are talking about this whole time that's been prophesied. And of course, throughout the ages, you wouldn't say look at it, because it's not a superstition. It was built in because, 500, 600 years ago when the eclipse came, you wouldn't just go out and stare. But they're saying this is
like Mother Earth. It's a big
it's a
cleansing.
big time for Mother Earth. Exactly.
So it's nice to hear that they're coming out, but that's odd. If you're pregnant, don't
See,
wear
that's
black.
why
Keep
all of us-
children away from the windows. Like, why are they trying to get us into? Are they trying to distract us from something? I just
Leon said that, what happens when you're fearful. One, you're focused outside. You're not focused on your
and you
power.
can be controlled.
You can be
that way.
controlled, and it's loose. It's a loose feast because they love fear porn. They love fear porn, pain porn, sexual misery. They feed on that. So
They're just trying to hitchhike onto the eclipse and apply some satanic rituals, it seems.
Exactly. Let's get some final words, and then I'm just going to bring us kind of into a space inside of ourselves to position ourselves, because the thing about this eclipse, and I think everyone's getting on board with this, I hear in the awakening community, I'll call them, what do you call them? Starseeds, indigos, light workers, aquafarians. We are all here for a reason, and we're giving birth to this new earth. So what we want to do is, instead of just looking outward, what's the next thing, we want to go tune inward and use this powerful time to visualize, because the parasites have used our visualization and our manifestation abilities against us to create more loose for them. We've been the one to create victimization. We've been the one to create our poverty consciousness. We've been the one to create all this, and they've used that against us. And so now it's our turn to, as these Metatronic reversals, all this stuff that's been disconnected us. It's dissolving, okay? And we're getting our power back. We're getting our connection to infinite source back inside of ourselves. So we want to use this and the next 40 days to really visualize, what do you want in your life? What is your soul mission? Why are you here? What have you come here to do? What unique gifts and talents do you have to bring to this planet? And what kind of earth do you want to see? What is heaven on earth to you? So before I take us into meditation, Ian, do you want to just make some concluding statements? Or
yeah. So essentially, for the last 7 years, there's been this negative cycle called trumpet pulses. One every year, a trumpet pulse every year, and these have been followed by something called chevron bursts, which follow a few months behind, and they collapse these trumpet pulses. Now, what these fallen angelic parasites, and we're talking about, these are on like a massive, huge level. These are not even in this density level that these are super, super high up fallen angelic sort of collectives that they're pushing these trumpet pulses. Now, the plan was at the end of this process, they were going to link all these 7 trumpet pulses up, which span across the first 7 dimensional levels, create a big black hole, and use the quantum of that black hole to try and drag the crystal spiral down into full alignment. So it's like a quantum grab for energy. You want energy. They want to feed on the energy. Before these two realities separate and go their separate ways, they want to grab as much energy, quantum, from it as they can, to take with them back down into their fallen matrices. Yeah. So that's what it is. Now, the trumpet pulse 7 is the last trumpet pulse, which is still running. It's only got a couple of months. It gets completely collapsed in May this year, right? And then there will be no more trumpet pulses at all. So I've just got a feeling they're using this event as some
Yeah.
kind of last desperate attempt to try and grab hold of a load of quantum from the crystal spiral. So what's important is don't sort of put your attention on it in a negative way. Oh, all these negative things that are happening. Oh, the world's going to end. It's not going to end. It's going to be absolutely fine. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. It's all going to be fine. Don't worry about it. They might try something. They probably will try something. I don't know what, but it's just an ongoing thing. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom, and you, Tacey. And now, if you can just join me and wherever you are, because your quantum is so powerful. They want it, so now we're going to use it to come together in unity consciousness and really connect. First of all, just take a nice deep breath, breathing in. I am. And just feel yourself dropping down as you exhale, infinite, 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 infinite. And kind of ground yourself in your center, in your heart of hearts. And just feel that divine spark of infinite source as you breathe in. I am. And exhale, infinite love, love, love. And one more time, just go gently, deeply within. It's all inside. The kingdom of heaven is within. Breathing in, I am. And exhaling, infinite source, 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 source. Just feel that peace, that unity, that oneness. And if you are outside or if you can go outside when the time is right, it's good to go outside barefoot and ground yourself into our mother and just take a nice deep breath and then throw your energy down into the center of our Mother Earth. And then just inhale and bring up a little spark of beautiful divine green Nomi wave energy and bring it up into your heart and just feel that quantum growing, growing, growing. And know you are infinite. You have infinite power to visualize and manifest whatever your heart desires. Let go of any of the fear as you breathe it down into your root chakra and just feel that fear of survival, of never having enough, of never having enough money, of never feeling safe, of never feeling enough. Just feel it dissipate and breathe it up into your sacral chakra and out, and feel that sexual misery and all those stuck blocks in your own divine creative energy, releasing, allowing yourself the beautiful freedom to create, to become a creator, god or goddess. And breathing up into your solar plexus and clearing away any of the reversals and mechanisms, implants and blockages into your sense of power, personal power. And breathe that up into your heart. Exhale and know that through your love, the love you have for yourself and others, that we are all one. And that every living creature deserves respect, deserves to be honored, deserves to be loved unconditionally. And breathe it up into your throat chakra and clearing out your divine voice, allowing yourself to speak your truth, to be heard, and to let go of all those miasmic dysfunctions of trauma and drama, being decapitated and choked and suffocated and strangled for speaking your truth. Let all that past just release and rinse through you. And one more time, breathing up into your pineal and clearing out all the distortions in your pineal, allowing yourself to see the truth and envision in your mind's eye, in your third eye complex, that powerful power to see into the God source worlds. And one more time, breathing up into your crown chakra blow it up, freeing yourself to receive cosmic downloads, to receive information, to surf the cosmic Wi-Fi, the infinite, not just the internet. And now, once again, go into your heart of hearts and feel this beautiful, beautiful hum that is coming from our Mother Earth, and feel this wonderful emission of energy coming from the great central sun, and feel that frequency bathing and activating you. And there is a unique spark just for you, that is igniting you as a catalyst for you to begin your unique soul mission here on Mother Earth. And now I want you to begin to visualize Earth as you want it, with clean, clear skies, beautiful suns, pristine waters, with creation as the currency, and love is exchanged, people exchanging their gifts and talents, traveling about freely, ancient technologies being resurrected, and people are free to create and be whoever they want to be within the harmony with prime creation of the Crystalla spiral of life. And just going to, for a minute, tune into that deep hum, which comes from an ancient Anasazi word. Actually, it's a mantra, which means we are one, and it's and as you listen to this, tune into our Mother, who is now birthing anew. Karaya Sata Allah. And she's recalibrating to the divine Crystalla spiral of life. Let yourself be pulled into that beautiful dance of the Crystalla spiral of oneness. And when you're ready, take a nice deep sigh and come back. And I hope that helped to ground you. This is a good time to ground yourself, to be drinking lots of water, perhaps upgrade your diet, upgrade your life, upgrade everything about you, start to take risks, start to confront your fears and move beyond them, little baby steps. And in the next 40 days, you can return to this meditation or just go within inside and find your own rhythm, your own hum, your own meditation, and begin to develop a unique relationship with our Mother Earth. Get back to what's organic, to what's alive, to what's real. And I hope that helps you. Just a few announcements before we say goodbye. My audiobook is out. It should be out on Audible, on Amazon, Infinite Human, The Infinite Human. So I know everyone's been asking for it, audio, and they wanted it in my voice, so I did it. And it just took a long time for the text to get it worked up. So that's out. And check on my website, www.infinitehuman.com. I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I'm getting that I'm supposed to be going up to Rome and to Florence in August and doing some, I usually do rewrite your story. So every time you go on a trip, not only do you, look at the ancient sacred sites and do your own clearing and purging, but you also have a chance to rewrite your life story as a victor, not a victim. And, I think that's all. So let's just and also let's hear from Eon how you can get in touch with him, because he's been an integral part of this talk show. He's been on, this whole month he's going to be on. We're going to hear from him at the end of the month also. So Eon, how can they get in touch with you?
Basically, you can find my YouTube channel called Waking Earth. I keep saying I'm going to carry on making videos. I need to actually I need everything to align for me to carry on making videos.
And if you're on Facebook, he also has a Facebook.
On Facebook, I've got, if you want to get involved in these ascension teachings that I'm talking about, I've created my own like a beginners group. Now it's a bit of a mouthful. It's called Know Me Earth Beginner's Guide to Fail-Safe Ascension.
Okay.
So
And,
yeah,
and
then,
we're gonna, if you're interested, we're gonna stay for a little bit more. If you're live streaming, we're gonna be talking to Eon. If you're on the radio show, he'll be on next week, and we're gonna go into a little bit more detail about this. Okay, so
Thank you, Elizabeth.
and Tacy, thank you so much. And she's a wonderful.
We'll keep you posted from the US of A.
And I was going to read everything about you, but can you just tell them a little bit? You've been with, Voice America for over 20 years now. You're award
Over 22, yeah.
22 award
over 500 shows, and lost count quite a few years ago.
Yeah,
but we're making the world smaller, more compassionate, more intelligent. So vicariously, people like you are doing that. So thank you.
And for
Both
free,
of you.
I mean, free speech. I mean, it's free speech.
Freedom of speech.
You can't do that on YouTube anymore, Facebook. You just can't. So it's great.
Excellent.
And I guess we didn't have any callers. Let's see.
I think we're just about out of time.
Okay, so I'll say thank you very much, and see you next week here with Eon Parks again. Ciao for now.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Infinite Human Talk Show with your host, Elizabeth Monroy. We hope today's episode has inspired you to join the new consciousness renaissance and be the change by reclaiming your true divine infinite nature within and becoming an infinite human and a co-creator of the new infinite earth. Tune in next week for another empowering episode. Until then, have an infinite week.
All right, we are clear. Great job, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, it's just you and me, but this will be recorded and we'll put it back up there. Do you want to take a little break for a minute? Or you...
Yeah, just give us a couple of minutes, and I shall return. Yeah.
The live stream on for a minute. Okay.
All right, just 2 minutes.
Okay, me too. Okay. Well, we certainly covered a lot. So, but since I have you, I know it's so hard to get a hold of you. I wanted to just, do you feel like doing a little bit more, or do you feel like we did enough? I mean, what do you?
We can do a little bit more. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, okay, I'll just start then with the thing. Okay.
Okay.
And okay, we'll just see how it flows. We'll just go. Okay. Hello, my divine, infinite human beings, you're all that is, ever has been, and ever shall be. And I'm Elizabeth Monroy. I'm your host of the Infinite Human Talk Show. And this week we have Ian Parks back, and we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the Great American Eclipse. We talked about that last week and some of the deep, advanced ascension mechanics and metaphysics behind a lot of the shortened version, I'll say the weaponized version of the revelations in the Bible. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and kind of help you in your continue to hold these high frequencies and to visualize and to manifest a heaven on earth. What do you want to see happen in these next 40 days? Because it's a very powerful opportunity, a window of opportunity to really to really empower ourselves and our Mother Earth to move beyond this parasitic control of the matrix that we've been captured in. And I think all of us, that if you're listening to my voice, you incarnated at this time for this very powerful time, because we're tilling the soil, we're planting the seeds for our new earth, and it's a beautiful time of creativity. So welcome back, Ian Parks. If you don't, if you're just hearing him for the first time, he's been a almost a staple guest on our show. He's schooled in what I call colonic science or advanced metaphysics. He's been studying a student of Ashiana, Dean's work for over 20 years, and he has the Waking Earth YouTube channel, and he's passionate and very knowledgeable about Tartarian architecture. So we've had him on several times. We started this month with April Fools and how we've been fooled basically with this false history narrative that has hidden all this beautiful Tartarian architecture and technology that is all around us. So let's talk a little bit about what we can do now to keep this energy going, so that we, as we step out of our victimization of our bondage by the parasites, and take back our power as Krystic beings. Welcome, Ian.
Hello, great to be back. Yes, take your power back. It's all about where you put your focus of attention, essentially. Now, there are sort of, in the teachings that follow from Ashiana Dean, there's like sort of activations you can do. It's all to do with like ascension mechanics, and they give you all these things. But in very, very simple terms, there's two time waves, and we can decide which time wave we want to. Each time wave creates its own reality field, if you like, and eventually, at some point in the future, these reality fields are going to separate and create a fallen reality field and a Krystic ascension path reality field. And you've got at the moment, we're living inside a kind of blended version of both of these. We're seeing both of them. So what you can do is you can decide where you want to put your focus of attention. You can focus on all the negative stuff if you want. What are these fallen angelic parasite people, governments, and all that going to do next? Oh my God, and live in fear every day. Or you can focus on positive things. Basically this reality field that we live in, it's like a mirror. It's like a holographic mirror. And what we think and believe and align with in ourselves, it goes out into this holographic creation, and then it will get reflected back to us. So if we're sitting there thinking of negative things all the time, those negative things, we're attracting them to occur. So what you're doing is you're actually aligning with the negative timeline by constantly watching what these negative groups are going to do next. You're giving them energy. You're giving them the loosh that they're after. You just need to remove your focus of attention away from them and put it on more positive things. Just imagine what you would like this reality field to be like. Focus on. It's hard to. A state of engaged detachment is how I would deal with it. I'm not saying completely ignore what they're doing, because sometimes it's helpful to know what these parasite groups are doing. Like keep your enemies close type of thing. Do you know what I mean? You can't completely just ignore them, because that would be stupid. Be aware of what they're doing, but don't get your emotional body involved in it and be in fear. Just say, all right, they're up to their stupid games again. And just try and stay and hold a space of joy where your emotional body is not reactive to what these external events that they push on you do. They push these things out, and a lot of people, they're programmed to just react. Oh no, the end of the world and all that. No, don't. I've gone past all that now. You get to a certain point where you just, instead of reacting in fear, I'm just like, oh, God, what's he up to now? Just carry on what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not giving them any energy. I'm not feeding them. I'm not feeding into that. So yeah, that's what I would advise to do. Engaged detachment, which is walking through life, walking through this hologram of existence, and being in this calm, sort of centered state where you're experiencing the hologram, but you're not being pulled around emotionally and energetically by every single thing that happens in the hologram. Engaged very detachment.
Powerful words, very wise words, really so powerful. And the truth is, what you just said is what all the sages have said, throughout the history. If you really take away all the religious BS, it's about finding that calm, meditative, space within. I say in it, but not of it. Even, so you're not being triggered. And it's not easy. I always really, that's rising above duality to me. And I walk through my day, and, sometimes here in Sicily, oh my God, driving especially, you just flip up the burner, and it's day-to-day practice. You have that opportunity to observe, to be aware, but to rise above it in frequency, so that you just see people, children living out their lessons and having free will, but and then you stop, I think, having those triggers, because you don't need them anymore. They're like little lessons that you draw to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's lots of negative things that are being pushed along with this eclipse. There's all kinds of there's all interesting like words and stuff. I mean, I've got some notes here. I could list them all off, but I don't want to feed any negative energy into it. But
I noticed that when it first came out, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? But I think you pay attention, and then you neutralize it, you alchemize it, and you realize, oh, it doesn't have any hold on me anymore. So
suffice to say, they're probably planning some type of next step to their agenda or whatever it is they're gonna. Well, they're always doing it. They're doing it every single day. So it's just another day on planet Earth type of thing. They do their thing over there, and we do our thing over here.
To bring it into just like into day-to-day life, I just want to share what happens in my mind. And I don't know if it happens to anyone listening, but I'll think, oh, I want to do this, I want to go to the beach, or I want to do this because I live in such a beautiful place, and I'm freedom, I can do anywhere. But it's like old programming. It'll jump in my mind, or like, those movies you always see talk about predictive program, when you think you're going to go fly and the plane, falls, or I think, oh, what if I have an accident? It'll jump in my mind, and then I'm becoming mindful. To me, that's what mindful is. Wow. My mind just went to what could, the fear, what could happen. And I have to consciously go, I'm in control. Nothing. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to drive there. I'm not going to have a flat tire. I'm not going to get in an accident. I'm not whatever. And I think we all do that because it's been this trauma-based mind control that's been so pounded into us lifetime after lifetime, or identity, alter identity after alter identity, that we have to look at that, because we'll talk ourselves out of things. Do you ever have anything like that happen to you, or am I crazy?
No, absolutely not. Now, at the moment, in case you weren't aware, we're in this period of time called Mercury retrograde,
Oh, yeah.
this year it happens 4 times. So Mercury retrograde at the moment runs from April the 1st to April the 24th. And essentially, things just seem to not go to plan during this period.
Mhm.
I'm not a big sort of astrology person, zodiac and all that. I don't really focus my attention on it. But Mercury retrograde, there is something to it, because in Mercury retrograde, like, things will just like inexplicably break down for no reason. Like especially electronic items, they'll just
I had that happen the other night. Big screen TV, no matter what I did, would not turn on. Yeah, it's weird.
It's just weird things like that. My wife, she's into all that kind of stuff, and she advises me, don't buy any electrical items or make any big purchases during Mercury retrograde, because it basically affects the energy of that thing, and then it'll be more likely to break down in the future. So don't do any major sort of things during this Mercury retrograde. There is something to it, but I try to like not put my attention on it too much. But yeah, I have experienced these things happening quite a lot. Things just like breaking down and stuff. So yeah,
that's very powerful what you just said, because I think part of this is like my will. I'm going to make this happen, and that's not that's not totally correct, because what you do is you are, of course, infinite source. So you align. It's like aligning with the prime creator, with crystal spiral. And there are spiraling times when you should be more inward and more, and which I try to tune into. Maybe you're more visualizing, maybe you're journaling, you're writing, because you're reconstructing things. And then there's times when you should be more expansive. I think you need to tune into that. But you need to be aware of, am I tuning into the natural, organic, crystal spiral order of things? Or is this the, AI, Fibonacci, encroaching on my reality, making me fearful of something that's not real, the boogeyman, So I think that's part of what we're learning. We're learning because we're like little children. We're starting to like, remember what powerful creator gods and goddesses we are. So that's part of the story.
Now, you mentioned this. You mentioned this last week, so you're probably more than aware that today is the first day of. There's a 5-day period called a Nomaya wave. Now, this is to do with this. It's a process that's happening on the planet, like a sort of an ascension process, which takes 900 years. It's called the Crystal River Failsafe, and it's all to do within the Crystal River Failsafe. It's like something's activated called the Nomi code, and that there's like these 3 times a year. There's an event that happens called a Nomaya wave, and we're in that at the moment. It begins today on the 8th of April, 2024, and finishes on the 12th of April. So, interestingly, the Nomaya wave starts on exactly the same day as the eclipse, which is like, what are the chances of that? That's crazy.
It's that lifting and the light taking us off. Yeah, really.
It's part of this fail-safe process. Now, a Nomaya wave is when, in very simple terms, it's when the frequencies of this fail-safe, which is an ongoing process over 900 years, periodically, these like sort of frequencies called Nomaya waves will come in from internal creation and keep this process on track. It's like a constant upstep of frequency over time.
Yes,
and it's keeping everything on. So it's like an influx of Krystic ascension frequencies. There's, if you want to go on to Ashiana Dean's website, arrayas.com, which is it's ARHAYAS. That's ARHAYAS.com. Go to the files section, and you can read these documents which explain all about all about that. The know me
And
code
a
and
lot
things
of
like that.
people, I think I saw you mention something, and I mentioned it like last week. I was so tired. It's just like these frequencies
Oh my
come in.
God! Well, I was
Let's
so
talk
I
about
couldn't I couldn't even hardly stand up. I've never experienced anything like it in my entire life. I felt like I was about 90 years old. I couldn't even like
But you
stand
have
up.
to realize, we are carbon based. We're not supposed to be, but we have these beastie seals and all these reversals, and we're like, going from ground zero to the top of the Empire State Building very rapidly right now, especially now. I think this whole
Yes.
summer into the Lions Gate, it's just going to keep. I know people are like, oh God, when's it going to stop? Well, I don't think it's going to stop. So what you have to do is honor your body. You have to rest a lot and drink a lot of water and ground yourself. You look at your diet. If I've had to change my whole diet because my body just said no more sugar. I love sweet. I just until the last minute. No, I absolutely cannot. There's so many things I cannot eat, And so have you found that you're like finding your body's like changing, like you're morphing into something? You're like, who am I? Like
Absolutely,
you're in this.
yeah. I mean, my wife is vegan, so I've been eating like a vegan diet for God, 6 months, and I don't have any negative effects by not eating meat. I mean, if I'm not like if like at the weekend or something, I may have some every now and again.
Yeah.
I may have some meat or something. I'm not completely averse to it or anything like that, but most of the time I'm eating a vegan diet, and I don't experience any negative effects from it.
We got a comment here right now. Someone who says they haven't slept in 2 days, and because
wow.
I'll go through periods where I don't sleep, or I'll go to sleep, then I'll wake up at the witching hour. I'll be up all night. When the sun rises, then I start to go to sleep. And I don't know how people have jobs now, like 3D jobs, and do it, because it's like,
well, yes,
hard.
exactly. I don't know how I do it either, to be honest. So yes, I keep a track of something called the human resonance frequency.
Yes.
On the planet. There's actually a website where it shows you what let's like a graph. Now, for the last few days, there's been an enormous burst of the human resonance frequency, which is in simple terms, it's like the magnetic waves that are coming from the sun, electromagnetic waves. Now, whenever you get a solar flare on the sun's surface, it will release a load of frequency, which they call the solar wind, and it will come and arc over to the planet, come into the planet's template, and then it'll circulate around in the planet, and it makes us feel incredibly tired. It usually comes from the sun 99% of the time. Sometimes it can, there was a few times recently where it's actually come from somewhere else, and no one knows where this frequency came from, which is interesting. Because it never corresponded with any solar flares, but it was a massive big like whiteout on the graph. So yeah, it's this frequency that's coming in that's causing like massive amounts of tiredness. So yeah, as I said, I've never experienced anything like it in the last few days. A new waters type of thing. So I've had to have like enormous amounts of sleep to try and keep myself operating normally. Otherwise, I'd end up in hospital in casualty or something. I was so tired. It's just.
Well, I just brought Kiki up on my lap, but you just and Tacey didn't mention it before on the other show, but the animals now, the animals are feeling it too, and a lot of animals have been like migrating different places to higher lands or something, because this energy is affecting everything. And I think I just want to say it's a good thing, okay? Because it is, sometimes I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to make it? Am I going to keep my body, or send without my body? But, it is, I'll get swollen, or I'll, just have to rest. But I know it's all, just changing, transfiguring our at a cellular level, our whole being. Bringing more light in, our cells are expanding. We're absorbing more light. We're shifting from carbon-based to diamond, diamond 12-stranded DNA avatars. So it's huge. And I say to people, rest. And this is a powerful time for manifestation. So it probably in this time is more of an incubating time, which is better to, I don't know about your dreams, but I take melatonin. My dreams, they're like realer than my waking life sometimes, and I'll be talking
Well,
to
I
people.
have to try that melatonin.
Yeah.
All right.
But
I'll
I
get some of that.
think it's a good time to visualize, to plan, to pen and paper, scribble and write down start internally with yourself, the qualities that you have and that you admire in other people and what that you want to develop in yourself. I know for me, just being a little bit more patient and loving toward people and less triggered, and being able to just be gentler, more of a loving presence around you. You wanted to say something, Ian?
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced some shifts recently myself. Me and my wife, we've just done all the laminar flooring in the living room. We laid it ourselves, which we're quite proud of. We've done the bedroom as well, laminar flooring. We've just got a new cat, a ragdoll cat. So we're making big energetic shifts.
Which are huge. I think a lot of people
Yes.
think, well, but you're laying a foundation. I mean, they're laying down, the floor is laying a new foundation. So the little things you
Absolutely.
do, even planting, a lot of people, I say in America, we really have a problem there with food. And I'm telling everyone, grow your own food. But even if you just plant a little seed, you sprout something in your window, you have a little herb garden, that is huge because it's reverberates into the higher worlds, and you've started to move in that direction towards life and the crystallis fire of life, away from that Fibonacci.
Yes, you've got. If you want to make a change, you have to actually like the manifestation process is you think about it, what you want to happen, then you feel, your emotional body feels the reality of that thing as though it's real, and then you've got to do some kind of action. So you're creating a template for that thing to exist on 3 different dimensional levels. D3 mental body, think about it. D2 emotional body level, you feel the reality of it, and then you do something, make an action in the world, which is D1 atomic body. So you're creating a very strong template for that thing to exist. Yes, so that's in very basic terms. That's the process of manifestation.
A note right here. I don't know who you are, but that we need time to speak to rest because it's rebirthing time. We're rebirthing a whole new us, a whole new planet, and this, even if it's a small thing, manifesting it takes a large amount of energy, especially when you're creating a new direction. Then you build up, the quantum, the speed, so to speak, and it can be like the snowball effect down. It gets easier. But we're at the very beginning phases of stepping our feet on a new earth, giving birth to a new earth, doing things differently. And many times it's been against the grain. I'll go in and people will look at me like, what's she doing? What's she eating? What's she, and you're different. You're the change.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, what I do on a daily basis, I if you follow these teachings from Ashia-Nadine, the plasma level teachings, they're actually called the Tantriora teachings, from arayas.com, ARHAYAS. They teach you how to run these frequencies in your body. So you just connect with these frequencies and you run them, and you can tangibly feel them. It's like when you start running these frequencies, it's hard to explain. It's like a feeling of joy. It's like you've got joy running through your veins. It's really hard to explain to someone what this feeling is like. So it's like you're connected to a completely different frequency reality. It's a huge upshift in frequency. So I just there's these breathing techniques you can do and activate these currents of frequencies, these plasma current frequencies in your
It's
body.
really important because, many times, especially, we're still involved, many of us, in 3D life. I try to stay out of it as much as possible. But,
Well, I'd like to as well. Yeah.
yeah, but if you're and when you go into the 3D reality, it's very draining, for me at least. And I find with all the EMF waves and then the stuff coming off of people who've been vaccinated, and not to mention as an empath, I feel so much around me that it can be really draining. So you need to shield yourself. A lot of times I find that shielding myself helps because it just brings up my energy to a higher level. And any kind of activations or anything you need to jumpstart your body to maintain your Krystic Cathara grid integrity, because when you do go out into that, it kind of rips it apart. Of course, when I'm here in my villa, and it's like very beautiful dimensions, so it feeds me a lot. But I know what it feels like out there, down there in 3D.
It's not nice. I know I've still got a 3D job, so I'm trying to sort of shift that to a higher sort of experience at the moment.
Okay, we're going to take just a really quick break, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Okay. And we're back. And this is Elizabeth Monroy with the Infinite Human Talk Show. Welcome, welcome back. We're talking with Ian Parks, and we're talking about how to best utilize this amazing energy that's coming into the planet now, with the ascension symptoms that you're going to be experiencing. But it's all good. There's a lot of things you can do with just grounding and respecting, honoring your body, sleeping, doing whatever you need to do in terms of shifting your diet. And then also manifesting and taking, even if it's small steps, just like, buying yourself some new clothes, remodeling your house a little bit. I bought some plants, or planting a seed, but taking actions, so that you are actually taking these high frequencies every day and just manifesting them into your life like little tiny breadcrumbs that lead you higher and higher onto the path of the Crystalla spiral, and with prime creation of divine infinite source. So, Ian, thank you for being here again, the man of the month.
Thank you. Yes, you've got to make a change. You've got to make a change for things to change, essentially. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you don't break out of the cycle that you're in your life, you'll just keep getting the same result. If you want your hologram to change, you need to actually change something. You need to shake it up a bit. As I said, any kind of positive change that you can make in your life, it's a seed that can grow into something else. You kind of like need to visualize the perfect version of who you want to be. What if you and move and make steps towards becoming that. That's you know what I mean?
I just bought some clay and I'm about to sculpt, the version of who I am. And I use that a lot with the workshops. When I do workshops with people, I use, it's called transformational art. And it's the journey of the hero. So one of the things that I am going to be offering, and I'd like to get you on board, but I used to do it at my film school in Florence, which, I closed down for, the COVID experience, and moved down here in Sicily, but I'm getting it started up again. It's really a journey of the hero, because I think we're always on a journey of the hero, whether we're talking about our whole time matrix, which, embarks on something, an experiment, something new. And then, we meet allies and enemies along the way. We meet mentors who help us, and then we meet the villain, which usually really is a reflection of the shadow within inside ourselves. So it's a way for us to confront our fears, our shames, our guilts, our, the things that are holding us back, our finite self, and, and heal the trauma that's been caused to us, heal that little child inside of us, heal the inner child, the divine child, heal that battle between the sexes, the hergamic, divine masculine, divine feminine. There's so many things to heal. And it's a repetitive thing because each time you do it, you kind of approach something different. And at the end, the elixir, is the hero at the end of the journey, the ascended one, the way you want to be. And I have people, I used to do it in Florence at the Uffizi Museum. I'd have them come in and look at the art and choose art that depicted, that symbolized these aspects of ourselves, our mentor self, higher self, our dark self, our shadow self, our the self we want to become at the end of this journey. And it was very powerful. And then they would create like masks or paintings, to symbolize each one. And then we do like create a film, and at the end, they would kind of alchemize all these aspects of themselves into what the reward at the end of the journey was, becoming that aspect of themselves. And I would take them, I would use the art and alchemy of Florence. I did it there. Here at Sicily, I used Mosa, like an island where they sacrificed their firstborn to Baal, and kind of clean out the ley lines too of that area. So I want to get you on board. Maybe you can come, you and your wife can come to Rome or something. I'd like to do
that sounds fantastic. Yeah.
I'd like to do Tartaria to ancient Rome, to the Roman Catholic Church, and I used to live in Rome, so I know it well, kind of starting at the Forum and walking the walk and stopping at the Parthenon and, some of the areas down there and ending up at the Vatican and laying crystalline spirals, because I always lay crystalline spirals wherever I go, and it kind of shakes up the things a bit. I've had people get really mad at me, like museum owners, like, get out of here. What are you doing? They don't like the energy, but hey, I do it in love. So, that's a model I think that was given to us that Joseph Campbell talked about, for you always to kind of go through this growth process. Yes, your birthday time. Okay. Yes, somebody likes that. Good. So, and I'll be offering some of those this summer, and fall. And so we'll see how that goes.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, I've never been to Rome before. That's a big, massive Tartarian center. All the I can hear your dog barking in the background.
Yeah, I would love to hear your perspective when we walk into these places, because it's true. As I really feel these veils every day are lifting, and I'm able to see with new eyes, because it's been in front of me forever, because I live here in Italy. It's not like, you don't see these. I'm like, this isn't a cathedral. This is a resonating chamber. So
absolutely, it's all technology, and it's not just the actual size of the building itself. It's the shape of it. It's the geometry of all the walls and things like that. It's all based. The whole building itself is built to plug into the templates that are around us, the energetic templates, and they're based on octant geometry. And it was all to do with the civilization was all to do with pulling etheric energy in from the atmosphere, free energy, and they were using water, the fountains, the water. They were using that as a mechanism for transferring, like the etheric energy could be carried from place to place in the water itself, in the water.
Key, it has memory, and it contains this divine blueprint. And everywhere you walk, there's a main fountain. Of course, we have the Trevi fountain, famous 3 coins in the fountain in Rome. That beautiful, beautiful fountains everywhere. It was an intricate part of each city's layout. So, but as we all wake up, the more, like, just you woke me up, and I'm seeing this, and it's like 100th monkey syndrome. The more we start seeing through this illusion, the more it becomes, more manifest in our reality. So that's part of the whole process. And absolutely. I believe we all have a soul mission, something to do. We have certain gifts and talents. Like yours is a passion about Tartarian architecture. And the more you do that, you're bringing people into your auric field. You're transmitting this information and the codes and helping people in their own ascension, just to position their consciousness on these higher timelines or these higher dimensions. And I think we all are doing that. And that's part of my job, is to empower everyone here on the Empowerment Show, empower them to do this, because I'm so excited, because it's like Christmas, because everyone is coming into their own and they have such wonderful gifts to give, so that's why it's like Christmas, because the Krystic people have these codes and gifts, and I can't wait to exchange, give and take, and that's what I see the new earth. That's my vision of the new earth. So,
absolutely. So once so many people become aware of this stuff, like the Tartarian reality that is all around us, but no one can see it, you do get this hundreds monkey effect. And once people become aware of the fact that these buildings, what they wear, the free energy technology, people will no longer be content with living under the system that the parasites are making us live under, and it will collapse that system.
yes.
If people know there's free energy technology all around us, everywhere, on top of these buildings, and we're not allowed to have them, and they're continuing to force us to live under this awful energy sucking vampiric system, eventually people are going to say, hang on a minute, I'm not having this anymore. And they'll say, we don't want to live like that anymore. We want to live like this, which we know is a reality.
I think it's happening now. I really,
So
really
do I. So do I.
I think it's happening so fast, and that's what this talk show is about, because our numbers are climbing, and if you're listening to this, please share it, because just talking about it, putting it out there in the ethers, it's like allowing people, it's like little cataclysms that open pathways in your brain and in your whole Krystic template, so you can see the world and interact with the world from a much more powerful, much more effective way. So you're no longer just being dictated to, and that's to me what this time frame is about. I think we were picking up momentum.
Absolutely. Now, in certain films, sometimes when they depict what heaven looks like, they will use grand, huge Tartarian-looking buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like in our race memory, to remember some level of us, we remember that reality used to be like that, and that was our feeling of what heaven is. So we need to reclaim and remember what reality used to be like before these parasites done their last sort of great reset. They done a great reset sometime in the 1800s. So no one really knows when it happened, because all the history's been removed. But the consensus is about 1830, something like that.
And they're doing resets, and they're doing one right now as we speak.
They're trying to do one. Yeah.
Into the AI world and get rid of everything, our books and all these texts and documents. They're desperately trying, but it's not going to work, because I used to think we had to do something. We had to do. But now I'm realizing, like you keep saying and pounding it into us. We said it so many times. We said it Back to the Future on the April 1st show. It's really easy, because what it is as this fence, this frequency fence, as these reversals, as this whole Fibonacci that's squashed, it's so infiltrated our nature that the nautilus and the
cone shells,
cone shells and everything have conformed to it. But that's lifting, and as that lifts, it's like awakening from a coma. We're like, oh my God, this is all just in front of my eyes. And they're having to retreat because the frequencies are so high. Like we just discussed last time, that the royals aren't even able to maintain a physical presence anymore, which is why they've moved into the AI, so they can kind of remote control us through, the artificial technology that they can keep here to, herd us into a hive mind, which is not going to work as soon as we realize, hey, the people who are controlling the buttons aren't even on planet anymore.
Absolutely. It's not going to work what they're trying to do. there will, if you align with the wrong reality, you can, the reality will split. These two timelines will split. Now, you can't, some people will go with the negative timeline and will experience some of these negative things in their reality. The further you go on that timeline, the worse it will become. But if you shift yourself now onto the positive one, you can put your energies on that and align with that. And the more you align with that, the less you experience of the other one. It's kind of like they will gradually phase out of each other's range, like a perceptual range. Like you slowly tune in the radio station to a different reality.
Yes. Wow. So well said. And I say the best advice, of course, you know, best advice is go inward with divine infinite source and connect, because that will guide you each time. You'll know what to do. But I would say for people that are struggling, get small. Right now is a great time to get small. You know, don't do a lot of expanding and moving and buying. You know, get your money in small, get your life in small, so you can kind of cocoon and just really spend all your efforts tuning inward and finding that inner power, that inner peace that comes. I know it sounds kind of corny, and we've been taught as kids, you know, like if you're acting out, oh, time out, you have to go sit in the corner, you know, and it's like you're being punished, you know. But for example, here we had lockdown, and I called it green pass up your ass, because you couldn't go anywhere unless you had a green pass. And at first I was really upset, and then I loved it. I said, you know what? There's nothing out there for me. I live in well, you can't see on the radio, but I live in a very beautiful place with the oceans over there, mountains around me. And I really tuned into Mother Earth. And so that's what I would say. The second thing is try to get in nature if you can. You know, I lived in Florence a while back, and I found myself walking all the time to the Bowley Gardens and the dog parks. And I just craved nature. And that's true. That's real. You know, you don't have to get real intellectual. You start getting small, you start getting with nature. And I believe right now, a lot of these, the Maori, the Hopi, the Seminole, the indigenous people of Mexico's, the Mayans I've met, you know, and a lot of them are actually inner earth people. They're all coming up now to share their knowledge, because they're coming online. The more you can get with nature and get out of all the crap, the EMF waves that are going on in the cities with, you know, everything, people walking around with their cell phones. In America, it's horrible with the 5G towers everywhere. And you can get with nature, you can get, you know, tuned in, biosync with our mother who's rising. You are going to just, that's going to anchor you onto this crystalline spiral of life.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a concept, obviously, people have wrote books, philosophers, love, right? So Aisha explains what love is, that there's a feeling of love, right? There's a feeling of love. And what it is, essentially, is the way creation works is you have like light spheres, and the light spheres will phase together, all right? Now, when two people, a man and a woman, fall in love, they co-resonate with each other, and they prepare to become one in the process of sacred union, sex, and all that kind of thing. And it's an actual tangible feeling of becoming in alignment with each other, so much that it's the moment that before you come together.
Two that become three, that become one.
Absolutely. So it's the feeling of love. It's a co-resonance with everything around you. Now, like in a larger sense, you can feel a love with the hologram that's around you. So you're in. Here's quite an expansive concept, right? Basically, this hologram that we're walking around in, when we look out at this world, there's a portion of that reality field that is generated by us internally, and we project it out, and we help to manifest it with everybody else that's walking around in this reality. Now, don't think about it as like an external reality. Think about it as part of your own body.
all inside of you. The kingdom of heaven is in. It's all just, and you explained it so well last week when you explained how we are constantly feeding and receiving. Our thoughts are creating our reality. So
it's a mirror. It's literally part of your own body.
And that's why I think it's good to get small so you can observe, so you don't continue in the same pattern of victimizing, software programs, victimizer.
Yeah, you need to make your own choices, and you need to think with your own mind, because what actually happens is if you just go along with the flow, like all these people who watch the TV, like the news media, and they're always, that's a collective consciousness of people who are all being controlled and told what to think, what to do. Now, if you're one of these people who don't think for yourself, and we're all programmed to do this through the media and the education system, we're all programmed not to think, just go with whatever the collective consciousness, the hive mind, like as a sheep, you follow along with what everybody else is doing. The collective, you just get carried along with whatever the latest agenda is, whatever the latest program is.
I want to stop for a minute there, because we have to see how grave that is. A lot of times people, well, first of all, those who did with the vaccination, so many are dead or are very ill. It's really sad for me, because I'm here in Sicily, and all these people had no idea. They just did it because they couldn't work without it, and I see what's happened to them. And I don't know if this is true, but I got this report in. I don't know, but it says reports of people disappearing by the thousands in the path of totality. It's happening. So I don't know if that's just a fear thing.
What are they talking about there? It's like the rapture type of thing? Is that what they're going?
Well, the point is that you really don't want to put the power outside of yourself and lay out there and say, rapture me or aliens beam me up, because you don't know who's, or you don't want to say, roll up your arm and say, okay, I want the cure, inject me. This is really the time, what you're just saying, and I'm just showing examples of it. Stop giving your power away. These people, these parasites are taking it out to take you down with them as much as they can. This is a very precarious time, a beautiful time, not a time to be fearful, but a time to be wise and inward to yourself. These next days, weeks.
Think of it like a flowing river, which has got a very strong current, and that river is always going in one direction. Now, if you just sit in that river and do nothing, you get carried in the direction of the current with everybody else. If you do nothing, right? So what you've got to do is you've got to make your own choices and decide your own direction, and not go in the direction that everybody else is going in, because you've got the ability to go in a different direction. And that's how this mass mind control works.
Yes. And I want to bring back to just a minute. I want to bring it back to the timelines. We talked about the timeline split. That was back in November when it happened. And this is just carrying it out. We're seeing it playing itself out. So the Fibonacci, they're putting a lot of the river really isn't that strong. I don't think. It's just that they're pushing you in the river. They're trying to get you. Look, the river. This is the best river. Go this door. When inside yourself there's a huge crystal river. There's a river of divine crystal force that, if you can just position yourself in it, it will carry you. It will carry you upward. It will. But you just don't buy the scam.
You've got to paddle your boat yourself in the direction that you want to go. Yeah.
Now you got to get out of that downward spiral. Some of you are already positioned out of it. So you're just kind of looking like, oh, well, and you can't jump in and save people in the river anymore. I think a lot of people tried that and it doesn't work, right?
It takes a lot of your energy out here. Yeah.
A lot of women, we're kind of programmed to always, be saving and the children and the men and everyone. We've got to save them. And, as a lifeguard, I learned, you can't jump in because they'll pull you under. You have to hit people on the head and turn them around and bring them to the shore if you're going to save them. So very powerful symbols here. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time. So, gosh, thank you so much, Ian, for
It's my pleasure. Yeah.
I could talk to you forever. But does anyone have any questions or comments out there? We've got some wonderful comments here about the interceptor making would fit the right. Let's see. My interceptor making would fit right in as well. Finding our inner divine selves acoustically. Some very powerful people here commenting. Scepters of power, flower power, inner royalty, protection from negativity. We intercept bad with good, forgetfulness, with memory, our star quality. So memory, yes, memory. So it is remembering our future, but I think we're going to also do it a little bit different because we've been on a journey, but we may be going back to the future, but we're creating another future. We've learned so much from it. So we're creating something even better, I think, even better. I'm an eternal optimist. And it's really exciting, and freedom, creative expression is the ticket now, and it's the ticket to abundance. I really believe Jane Everson came on here and she said, the currency really is creative currency, which has been co-opted away from us, but it's our ability to create and imagine new things. And that's what's coming online now. So there's abundance, there's, bioregenesis for us all, longevity, love, deep, profound relationships with people where you get to exchange ideas like what we have, not just conversations where you're kind of like, I'm tired of talking about the weather, but, really life-shattering, life-changing realizations and epiphanies when we get together, people that are awakening and share. It's really exciting. So that's the future that I'm creating. Anything? What about you, Ian? Any final words?
Just basically, in very simple terms, just guide your own ship. Choose who you align with. Choose to listen to and hang around with positive people. If you're hanging around with the wrong crowd, if you constantly, and it's not just with people, it's with information as well. If you absorb yourself with the wrong people or absorb yourself with the wrong negative information, it creates negativity in your own life. You need to make a shift, more positive people, more positive information. And everything helps to shift your own reality, because this reality that you're walking around in is created by you, the individual. You are having an actual physical manifest effect on what you experience, these things. So everything you think in your own mind and your belief system, it all gets reflected back to you. So be mindful about what you allow yourself to be. Think about the positive version you want to be of yourself and make incremental steps towards becoming that. And the more you do it, it can be tiny little changes you make in your hologram. Like, as you said, you bought some new plants. I've done a new floor, bought a cat. Things like that, little changes, they all help to move forward and shift. If you feel stuck in your life and things aren't going anywhere, you just got to give it a bit of a shake, give your hologram a bit of a shake, do something to change it, something positive. Make a change, and these little changes will all create a shift, a positive shift. So yeah, that's my ultimate message. Don't put your attention on these negative things that are happening, like this eclipse and stuff. It's all going to be fine. Yeah,
it's all going to be fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ian Parks. And Ian will be back on at the end of the month. We're finishing up with the Tartarian architecture, and technology. We kind of pushed that. It was supposed to be this last week, but we pushed it aside because of this eclipse. And then next week is Earth Day, Mother Earth Day, I'm going to be calling it. And we'll be having a wonderful artist on, and we'll be talking about things you can do to biosync and really integrate and support our Mother Earth and yourself in the ascension process. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, and goodbye, Ian. You can find
thank you.
on Waking Earth YouTube channel also. And me, please join my Infinite Human family at www.infinitehuman.com. And my audiobook is now out by popular request on Amazon. So please check that out. All right. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.